All right, Fantasy Six Pack Hour here for Week 17 Fantasy Football Championship Week, getting you ready to help you bring home those trophies and that cash with some start-sit streamers, news and injuries, and all that, guys. Let's get to it.
The Fantasy Six Pack Hour.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. Over here, we got Mr. Dapper, AJ Applegarth. What's up, man? And
What's
over
up,
here,
festive?
we didn't send Corey the memo over here, but Corey Pieper, not dressed up for the,
I thought I'd wear red and be like, "Oh, I'm Christmassy." No, apparently not.
Ain't good enough.
I'd have known.
I mean, it's like a phase. It's like over here is crazy. Then I'm kind of in the middle, and then you're like, I mean, I wore red. Cool.
Red.
You just needed a beard, man. The red would have gone good with like a beard. Dye a little white. You could.
Get the ascot a little more visible here.
Oh my goodness, man! All out over here. All right. So we're gonna try to get through this a little quick. We are recording a little earlier in the day on Wednesday. It is Christmas Eve, so gotta get back to the family stuff. So we're just going to jump right into things. No slides this week, so just follow along as best you can. So I'm going to cover the streamers. AJ, Corey, you guys can chime in. AJ, go ahead and razz me all you want because this is usually your segment. But I'm going to start off here with my QB streamer. And Tyler Shough is the quarterback that I'm going with here. Been very, very good the last month and change. QB1 a few weeks. The last couple of weeks, he's been QB, I believe it's QB 16 in most scoring formats. That's serviceable, right? I mean, like the difference between QB probably 8 and QB 16 is a point, maybe 2 points. Like that's very usable. And this week he gets Tennessee. Now Tennessee is playing a little bit better as of late. Their offense is is staying on the field a little bit longer, which is helping their defense out. But Tyler Shough's been just kind of just making it work, man. And they've lost a lot of pieces over there in New Orleans, but him and Olave just absolutely blew up last week. John Johnson's still hanging out over there, so I like this one as a if you lost Mahomes a couple weeks ago, or you've got some of these other tougher matchups that we're going to get to later in the show for our start-sit segment, then maybe you look at Tyler Shough as somebody to throw in there. He is very under rostered. I believe it's still at 18% at best on Yahoo. I did not write that down, but it is very low. I do know that.
17%. I got that one.
Okay.
The part that I never thought we would get out of Tyler Shough is a 49 attempt game, and here we are, 49 attempts. I mean, that's awesome volume. He runs just enough. It could be even better if he starts scoring some touchdowns. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, him and Olave, like you said, just had a ridiculous week, and Olave has been the bane of my existence this year, I feel like, because I had him on my do not draft ever again list. As you well know, that is a dead list. Like, you do not come off of that list. So I ride and die by that. And Olave is one of those guys, but he's impressed me a lot this year. I think he put up 37 on me last week. It was not a fun semifinal for my one team that was actually fighting for something.
Yeah. Olave got me pretty good. So in the Fantasy Six Pack League, I don't know if you guys remember when I traded for Tyler Warren, who now is a nothing. I had the option of also getting either Stephon Diggs or Chris Olave. Now at the time, obviously the New Orleans offense was just putrid, and I was like, I don't want any of this noise. And Diggs was starting to pick up some steam, so I was like, all right, I'll take Diggs. And man, that was not a good decision. I did not see that one coming. And then
No.
not only that, last week in the semifinal league in my family league, I would have made up the Puka Stafford hole that I got put in by playing against both of them, a 70-point hole. And then Chris Olave happened against me. So I not only went against Puka Nacua, wide receiver 1 for the week, I went against Chris Olave, wide receiver 2 on the week. That is over 100 points between 3 players. That's really hard to overcome. So
yeah,
it is what it is. But yeah, those two have something going there. So over here to running backs, and this one's a little tougher. At this point, like we've all got our kind of solidified guys. I'm going Chris Rodriguez against Dallas. It was a bit more of a split last week between Rodriguez and Krosky Merritt than I thought it was going to be. But at the end of the game, it really ended up being quite a bit more Chris Rodriguez. They just sort of ran with him at the end a lot, and like he kind of took it over. But I think they both scored, so that helped. And then look, this week the offense could be struggling, so this one's hard. We might be looking at a Josh Johnson game, so that's going to be interesting. But that could also mean that they just kind of rely on the run a little bit more. Dallas's defense not good, so if you're in desperation mode for running backs, like you lost Quinshon Judkins or something like that, and you were kind of trying to lean on him, go and see if Chris Rodriguez is out there, and I think you'll be okay. Like he's been actually doing basically just as well as Quinshon Judkins the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Just because the Browns have decided they didn't want to use him all of a sudden, and then they did, and he breaks his leg. I mean, so a little bonus one here, and this one would trump Chris Rodriguez for sure, and a lot of other people. If Josh Jacobs actually gets ruled out, Emmanuel Wilson shoots into high RB2 territory for me.
Yeah, I was just looking at him, honestly.
He's got the interesting debacle of quarterback situation as well, where we obviously know
Jordan Love is
Love is out, right? So
out.
He's out. And then Malik Willis got hurt at the end of the game. So we might be looking at who is it, Corey?
Clayton Tune getting called up off the practice squad.
Have fun with that one.
Nice.
So yeah, this could just be a bad offense as well. But Emmanuel Wilson, we've seen him; he does well. And Jacobs, honestly, he struggled last week, even though he was healthy, right, and played. Mm-hmm. So he's something to kind of look at as well.
Yeah, Wilson outscored him.
Yeah,
he looked way better too. Honestly, Josh Jacobs looked like a player that hadn't practiced in a week, and then he fumbled the ball inside the 5-yard line, which absolutely killed the Packers. And I'm not bitter at all, but
I don't sense that.
Sounds like it, man. Sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right, jump over here to receiver, and Corey and I were talking about this before the show, trying to come up with start sits. Receiver position is rough this week. Once you get outside the top, 16 maybe at best. It's bad. It's bad out there. And then I've got to go even deeper with this, outside the top 50% rostered. I could have gone with Jalen Coker again. He's been okay. He kind of took a little bit of a step back. McMillan got his target share back last week, which was good to see. Parker Washington, you could chase the points, but that's unreliable because we know the usage is always up and down with him, right? He is the receiver 3 in that on that team, despite the struggles of Brian Thomas Jr. You don't love going with any of these Packers guys because you just don't know who's going to get the ball. Plus, the quarterback situation is bad. Even if Willis plays, it's more of a running offense at this point. With that, I hate it, but it's kind of the best of the worst. It is Tre Tucker going against the Giants. Phenomenal matchup. Geno Smith back. Look, Geno Smith has not been playing good football, but loves to throw the ball to Tre Tucker. And the last time that the Raiders played a bad defense was Week 11 Dallas Cowboys. Caught 4 for 47 and a touchdown. That's very usable. Outside of that, man, they're scheduled down here. The the last half has been absolutely brutal. Does anybody notice this?
Yeah.
Denver, then Dallas, Cleveland, Chargers, Denver again, Philly, and then Houston. Oh, like I get that the Vegas Raiders offense is bad. There's not a lot of teams that are going to look good against those defenses back to back weeks. So that's a brutal stretch. This week they get a little bit of a reprieve with the Giants. So, look, I think what it is really though is like there's not a lot of new injuries or like to receivers, and then there's just a lot of underperforming receivers that just aren't really getting it done. Like a lot of the Chargers guys are just sort of disappointing now, right? The Packers guys, we never know who's getting the ball. And we got the Bears receivers where like honestly everybody's like, oh, DJ Moore, but like it was one play. It was literally one play. Like he was doing absolutely nothing before that one play, the final play of the game. And so like it's really hard to trust all the Indianapolis guys. We don't know. Like, do you really want to chase Alec Pierce's phenomenal game? Like, I don't. It's rough out there. So it's Tre Tucker, but I don't love it. Hopefully, you've got 3 receivers you can start over Tre Tucker.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only I was looking at Tucker, but the other like really, really desperate deep dive would be AD Mitchell.
Yeah, I thought about him
based on volume. I mean, since
the
week
matchup's
11,
so much worse,
yeah. Oh, exactly. Week 11 when he played New England the last time, 6 targets, then 7 against Baltimore, 12 against Atlanta, 6 against Miami, 9 against Jacksonville, and 6 last week. Now the catches aren't all really there, and he's only got 2 touchdowns in that span. He's only topped 50 yards twice. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, it's the 2 games with the touchdown. But I mean, there's potentially points to be had there. The Jets suck, and they're going to have to pass the ball if they want to even attempt to stay in this game. So, I mean,
Luther Burden, if he can get on the field.
That was the one I was going to talk about. Was Luther Burden, like
if he could get on the field, he's dealing with the ankle injury. Yeah. That's the tough part about doing this super early on Wednesdays. Teams haven't really practiced yet. They've had like walkthroughs, so we don't know anything. Even on Wednesday night when we normally record, like it's the super early practice reports. It's like so, and a lot of times like the guys that are injured or their vets aren't practicing. They don't care. Jump over here to tight end, and I want to gag just saying this, but it is the absolute truth at this point, and it is back to Taysom Hill. The Saints apparently do not trust Estime or Hall, and they gave 12 carries to Taysom Hill last week. You do that against the Tennessee Titans. I want it. I want all the Taysom Hill in my tight end position. And he even threw a pass for a touchdown last week. It's just, I want all the Taysom Hill. Like I've picked him up in both the leagues that I still have something to play for. And I am starting him over quite a few guys, and we will get to that when I do my sit segment here. So a little teaser there. Stay tuned.
Nice.
But Taysom Hill is absolutely a guy who, I mean, look, it could totally blow up in your face. We've seen this with New Orleans. Like 1 week they'll use Taysom Hill a lot, and then the next week they won't. Even when Sean Payton was there, like that happened from time to time. This coaching staff hasn't really leaned on Taysom Hill as much as Sean Payton did. So it's hard to know if they're just going to keep rolling with this. But a lot of these tight ends that you're going to be like that you want to start out that have big names that have, they've had good seasons up and down, but like they haven't been getting it done lately. And you're going to miss out on like 2 points by starting these guys over Taysom Hill. Like it's not worth it to me. So like Taysom Hill could be a difference maker at the tight end position, especially if you're going against like a McBride this week who should absolutely just feast. And those kind of guys. So it's tough sledding out there for the tight end position. There's been a lot of guys who we were relying on all season that have just fallen off. A lot of them not even their fault. A lot of it is just quarterback, and then just the team hasn't been performing as well. And unfortunately, it just falls. Just causes them not to have the season, the end of the season that we were all hoping for. The
the real deep dive here I was looking at was Jake Tongas.
That's obviously Kittle.
Awesome. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, assuming he doesn't play, I mean, he's got the low to mid grade left ankle sprain, so we'll see. I mean, the Niners can still clinch the 1 seed, which is kind of ridiculous to me.
I know,
but I mean that NFC West is legit this year. I mean, that's a very tough division. But Kittle's been doing Kittle-like things the past 3 games. He's got 17 targets the last 2. Another 15 before the bye week for the first those last 2 games there. Chicago's right in the middle against points against the tight end. So Tongas has some opportunity there. It's
definitely a guy that I was looking at, but with it kind of sounds like Kittle is closer to playing than not, just because I guess it's a low ankle sprain. But again, that's just one that we're gonna have to keep an eye on. But I had Hill as my first tight end waiver pickup, and then I had Tongas as a backup, and my backup for that, when I had Gadsden replacing, I didn't drop Gadsden in that one if I was going to get Tongas just in case, because I would probably rather play Gadsden over Tongas if Kittle plays. So that was one of those. But over here to the Big D streamer of the week, I got a couple here, and one is obviously reliant on injury news, but the first one that you could just roll with right now, I think, is the Bucs at Miami. We get no Tua out there. Ewers was okay. Checking it down. Getting Waller involved. Waddle was involved. But there was no explosive plays. No touchdowns, a few sacks, and he threw 2 picks. So that's what you're looking for a defense here is, turnovers and sacks. I don't usually go after the points scored, because I'm not targeting defenses that are playing, the Rams, right? Or the 49ers. I don't target defenses that go after these elite offenses. So I'm usually picking between defenses that are playing mediocre or bad offenses. And so the tiebreaker at that point becomes usually the quarterback play. And if there's a backup quarterback out there, then I want to target that, because it's usually sacks and turnovers that you kind of gets you over the edge. So that would be my number 1 play. However, if we get word that Lamar Jackson is not going to play this week because of the back injury, and we get Tyler Huntley, I am playing the Packers over them everywhere. The Packers are a much better defense. And at Baltimore, we've seen it. When Lamar did not play this year, they were not a good team. And they honestly really haven't been all that great, even with him on the field, but they are much better with him on the field. So the Packers, have shown, even without Parsons, have been a good defense outside of the last 12 minutes last game. Sorry, Corey. It's just, I think they can shut down this Baltimore offense without Lamar. And if the Ravens coaching staff stays on trend here, they'll just sit Derrick Henry for half the game for no reason, and get up 2 scores with him and because of him, and then sit in the last 12 and a half minutes and lose the game. Super smart.
Yeah. I don't understand any of that. Never will. I do like the Packers too. I mean, looking at the teams that Baltimore has gone against, without Lamar, like you said, you got the Lions, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Rams. I think he was still out for the Rams game. But yeah, all of those teams put up very solid games against Baltimore. I mean, the Rams had 17 points. You're looking at the Chiefs. They put up 8 points. Houston had a real nice game against them and put up another 11 spot. So there's definitely points to be had there. If assuming Lamar doesn't play. But yeah, that's kind of where I was going as well.
So Corey just threw something in our private chat here that I guess I missed. It was a few minutes ago. Corey, you should say something, man.
Okay.
You want to announce it?
Brock Bowers got placed on the injured reserve per Tom Pelissero here. So if you were relying on Brock Bowers, don't. Now listen to Joe and his streaming tight end, or keep listening on. But yeah, you mentioned it there in the private chat too. Tre Tucker.
Tre Tucker is obviously even better.
Yeah.
Matt Mayer now becomes a guy who you
good.
absolutely need to look at. He was crushing it when Bowers was out this year.
Yeah.
So I may have to rethink my pickup of Taysom Hill and look at and Mayer, and I really got to rethink that. So that's an interesting one. I'm gonna have to kind of look deeper into that before one of my leagues waivers kicks off later today. So, all right. So that's what we got for the streamers. We're going to be switching it up just a little bit this week. We're not going to be doing like my high-low for the rankings. Like, not everybody has their rankings into Fantasy Pros yet. So ECR isn't really set. It usually gets a lot more set like Wednesday night. So, and then my the initial rankings that get put out are very raw rankings. And so there's a lot of tweaking that gets done, and that will be happening throughout the week. So instead of that, Corey and I decided we were just going to do a start sit segment here. And so we'll just go one per position, quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. I have a defense, but that's just a little bonus. But AJ, you kind of want to lead this one and then we'll go by position, start and then sit.
Yeah, that'll work. So yeah, we'll start off with the quarterbacks here. And who are we starting this week?
So we went back and forth on discussing this, who we should talk about. A lot of them in that range that are just outside the top 10 are players that have even like really difficult matchups or are injured. The one that we settled on is Jaxson Dart. Now, if you have Jaxson Dart, the chances are you're probably not playing this week. But if you still are, I think you can roll him out there. But the last game, we saw Jaxson Dart didn't throw the ball until the second quarter. He did not complete a pass until they had inside the 2-minute warning and finished the game with 33 passing yards and, more shockingly, ran 2 times for 7 yards against the Vikings. But I think it'll be better against Vegas. And that's just such an outlier from what we've seen in Jaxson Dart. I do not think we're going to suddenly start to see them throw it 15 times a game. But the week before that, they threw it 36, 24. If we can get mid-20s in pass attempts against a bad Raiders defense, and he can chip in his 5 to 10-ish rush attempts and maybe get you a rushing touchdown, Jaxson Dart is still as likely as ever to get over 20 fantasy points. So if you're still going and you have Jaxson Dart, I'd be fine rolling him out there.
Yeah, last week was absolutely brutal.
Yeah. I mean,
for someone who's been... there's nobody could have predicted that either.
No, not even close.
And he was so consistent. Once he got in there in week 4 through week 10 and before the injury, he was amazing. But yeah, since then, pretty inconsistent. So Vegas will hopefully cure that, but we shall see. All right. So who is your sit QB this week?
Yeah, coming off a huge game. First one in a few weeks, actually. Justin Herbert, for me, is my sit. Going against that Texans defense, who we've seen just absolutely shut every quarterback down and most offenses in general down. Again, Herbert looked amazing last week, but it just trepidation there against that Texans defense, which just flies around, and that offensive line for the Chargers has been pretty bad the last half of the season here.
Season.
Most of the season, but it's whenever Alt is out, they are an absolute mess. But look, even the weeks before this game, right? Before last week, when you put up 30 against Dallas, right? I mean, most players look good against Dallas. Kansas City 11, Philly got 13, Vegas was only 13. Everybody likes to pick on Vegas, but they're actually not bad against quarterbacks. But Jacksonville before the bye was 4. That was probably the game he got hurt. So then Pittsburgh was 14. And then, before that was when he was hot and he was a good quarterback. But since that, it hasn't been great. Finally got back around last week, like I said. But against this Houston team, man, I don't really want to rely. I don't want to have my fantasy championship lean on a quarterback going against Houston.
I ended up
that's
Herbert
definitely understandable.
For Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, Brissett was not good.
Nah, that one was unfortunate. Yeah, I'm looking at quarterbacks who have played Houston, right? So there's a 19 with Mayfield, and then kind of not a whole lot. We get another 19, 10, 13, 10, 16, 8. Randomly Brissett at 21. Last week, manageable, I guess. Geno Smith got 15. That's actually one of the better games against them, shockingly. But
yeah,
Brissett, it took 50 passes to get there. I mean, it's just bonkers. So that's the kind of thing it takes. This should be a much more competitive game where the Chargers aren't going to have to just air it out, 50 times in order to catch up. I really don't think, Houston blows them out. So that's not what's going to happen there. And I think that's what kind of happens, right? Is they're in all these really competitive games. And so the run game can stay involved and you don't really want to have to attack the secondary. It's super good. So I am going with Herbert as my sit.
Yeah, the Chargers have an uphill battle here. They're still fighting for that division, AFC West there between Denver. They're one game behind them. They play in the last week of the season. I would be pretty surprised if New England doesn't end up with the 1 seed. They're facing the Jets in Miami the last 2 weeks. So unless they sit players and don't seem to care about the 1 seed, then it's Denver's to lose. And they still hold the tiebreak over them right now as it is. But I mean, the Chargers need to ball out, and I don't know if I see it. So, all right, next here we're going into running back. The first one we have up for our start is who?
It's Blake Corum, who consistently now has scored a touchdown. The last 4 games he scored at least 1 touchdown. He had that 2-touchdown game in there against Arizona, but because of that, he has finished inside the top 24 running backs the last 4 weeks. What you need is you're just relying on the Rams offense is what it is, because Kyron is still getting basically 60-ish% of the snaps most of the time. So Corum's getting in there for 40% roughly. But the Rams offense is such a machine. It just keeps going. They did fine against Seattle until the end there where the defense really let them down. But in this matchup against Atlanta, which is right dead in the center against running backs, I think we'll probably get his usual 12 carries out of Blake Corum. He's running at such a high level that 12 carries could be around 70 yards a touchdown. So if you're looking for a flex or even a backup RB2, like you lost, Joe mentioned Quinshon Judkins or TreVeyon Henderson, something like that, you can roll Blake Corum.
Yeah. I was looking at him as a potential streamer pick as it is, which shockingly he's still only rostered in
I saw
under 44%, which I do not get, but I guess it kind of weighs in that not many teams are really fighting at this point.
He's been rostered way too low. I mean, he was a staple. He just took the for sale sign down in the waiver show, and
Yeah.
he just lived there. It was awesome. So yeah, my sit here, I'll just kick it off. I'm going with Aaron Jones. The matchup's tough, man. Look, I know Mason's out, so that should help him. There's a lot of things going against it, though, right? Detroit's run defense has been one of the best in the league this year. And then, unfortunately, JJ McCarthy is dealing with an injury and has already been ruled out this week. So now we go back to Max Brosmer. And we saw what happened a couple weeks ago with Max Brosmer. The offense didn't do anything. And so I just have no faith in this Vikings offense this week. And that unfortunately trickles down to Aaron Jones as well.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Jones has been fairly disappointing this entire year. So I don't hate it.
No.
All right. Moving on here to wide receiver. Corey, who do you have as your start option?
Okay, so Joe and I, before AJ jumped on, we're talking about receivers. And like you mentioned, like I pretty much hate every receiver outside the top 20. So to find one of these guys outside the top 30, it was like pulling teeth. We actually talked about AD Mitchell, like AJ mentioned already. The one that's got the most upside and should be the best and has a great matchup is Marvin Harrison Jr., right? He's got Cincinnati. That's the team that you should be able to throw the ball on. We talked about Jacoby Brissett being disappointing last week, but they're going to throw it 40 to 45 times, maybe more than that. The ceiling on Michael Wilson gets lowered by Marvin Harrison, but he came back last week from his, I don't remember what the injury was. Was it an ankle? It doesn't matter. Anyways, he was back and got the ball thrown to him 3 times. He caught one of them for 14 yards. So you can't go off of like a track record of being on a roll here because we have yet to see a 100-yard game all season from Marvin Harrison. He has been inside the top 30 at wide receivers 5 times. He did it again in week 13. So it hasn't been pretty, but it's a great matchup. We all still believe he's talented. He just has never showed it. So if you have Marvin Harrison on a team that's still playing, there is no third wide receiver with more upside. I'll say it like that. And he could deliver on that. And he could, give you the floor on any of these guys is almost nothing. That's the problem with all these lower wide receivers. The floor is nearly getting skunked.
Yeah. As far as the matchup, I think Cincinnati's a little bit tougher than you're giving them credit for. Number one receivers, Waddle put up 72 last week. Flowers 68, a touchdown. Khalil Shakir, 16 and a touchdown. Mac Hollins, I guess. Pop Douglas had 37. That was the top receiving option against them. So they're not really giving up a ton of yards to number one receivers. Serviceable, but I really think it might be more touchdown dependent than we think.
Well, it's a lot of they give up a boatload to tight ends as well, which means McBride is going to absolutely just destroy this week. Harrison's fine again. Like Corey said, we were kind of like,
it's a tough slip.
He would never be ranked this low. That was kind of my thing. Is like if it weren't for like the injury and we're not quite sure how much workload he is going to get, he would never be ranked this low. He'd be easily in our wide receiver 2 in the rankings.
So, all right, well, who we have for our sit candidate here?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned him last week and how like I was kind of worried about his workload, and going back to Emeka Egbuka, and look, we saw it. It happened probably way faster than I thought it was going to. Target share dropped to 8%. He's just losing snaps to Jalen McMillan. They're splitting, and Baker's going back to the guys that he was trusting last year. And as much as Egbuka has been awesome, especially to start the year when Evans and Godwin and McMillan were out. He's not leaning on him anymore. He's leaning back on Mike Evans big time. Godwin had a pretty decent game last week. McMillan's just kind of filling in as a third. And then you got all those running backs, right? So there's just a lot of mouths to feed in Tampa. It's kind of hard to rely on really anybody outside of Mike Evans. Godwin's sort of a flex play at best. The rest of the guys for wide receivers, no. But yeah, Egbuka, 8% target share, not getting it done for me. I do not want anything to do with him this week.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup there too in Miami. So definitely hard to go with him with all these other studs for Tampa back and healthy. All right, so coming up on our tight end position here, who are we looking at as a potential start?
So we mentioned some guys already, right? Tonjes, we came up with Michael Mayer with the Bowers injury, but I'm going to go a little higher, probably more rostered already, and that's Darren Waller. I think you can keep playing Darren Waller here. He had the 2-touchdown game a couple weeks ago, and then last week we saw Quinn Ewers take over as the quarterback, and it wasn't as good, of course, but he was still involved. 5 targets, caught 3 of them for 40 yards, and he gets a matchup against the Buccaneers. That's the same Buccaneers team that – so last week it was a touchdown to Jatavian Sanders. 2 weeks ago, Kyle Pitts went for 166 yards and 3 TDs against them, so we know that he can have that. And before that, Trey McBride had an 80 yards and a touchdown. Colby Parkinson had 40 yards and a touchdown. That's 4 straight weeks. The Buccaneers have given up a touchdown to a tight end. Waller's still involved in the offense. They kind of did what I wanted to see him do. Malik Washington did get a touchdown at the end, but it was mostly, at least while the game was competitive, Achane, Waddle, and Waller. And I think Waller can get the ball 5 to 8 times. You can still get a touchdown out of him in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I do hate that you mentioned Colby Parkinson. He is about a foot away from entering my dead zone list after me pushing him up and building him up for so long.
I want to know.
Disappointed everybody, man. That was
crushed me.
So crazy.
And, crushed everybody.
That was wild.
It was not good.
I want to know who's on Joe's dead zone. Like, I feel like I know AJ's now. Everyone knows I hate Khalil Shakir and Ali Gordon. Joe, who was on your dead zone?
I've got more baseball dead zone people than I do football. So my dead zone used to be oh God, what's his name? We've talked about
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper was dead zone for me.
Yeah.
Just because of the total inconsistency. And so there's a lot of players like that in the NFL that are sort of dead zone for me. Like I don't actively target guys like Jameson Williams, right? For the same type of reason. Like beginning of the year, man, he was killing you. Now he's awesome, but like, okay, how many teams probably got burnt bad by drafting him? Those are the types of guys that are kind of dead zone from me. At the end of the year, you're going to look back and go, oh, but he finishes like wide receiver 15. Okay, but he finishes wide receiver like 50 half the season. So good luck with that one, man. Those kill you, man. I'm more of a consistency guy when it comes to fantasy sports. So yeah, they're not. I don't have a lot of total dead zone guys, like injury risk players. The CMCs, like I don't want to. Like I missed out on this year, obviously, but I finally bit the bullet and went after him last year and got crushed for it. So kind of I guess he would be kind of, even though like, when you don't get him the year that he's doing what he's doing right now, you're hurting.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has happened. It's like every other year with him. So good luck.
All right. So
tight end
category.
Yeah, so my tight end sit category is fairly lengthy and really it has nothing to do with matchups. It has nothing to do with really anything except that Travis Kelce, Ronnie Jaxson, Kincaid, Tyler Warren, although I do like Warren slightly better than all the rest of those guys because he at least was like getting looks from Phillip Rivers. But I don't know if you watched the game, like severely underthrown on like, I don't know. Phillip Rivers had like happy feet on that play and then like tried to do this like jump pass wide open. Like he just beat him on the corner route and Warren just the ball fell five yards short. I was like, oh, that was terrible. But all of these guys, man, they're dealing with just poor play with Jaxson and Kincaid, right? Kincaid's also dealing with like injuries. Travis Kelce, I mean, the third string quarterback now in Kansas City. Who cares? Tyler Warren, just not getting looks. Even before the injuries to the quarterbacks in Indy, Warren was kind of going in the wrong direction. Things just aren't going. And the problem, right, is with this tight end position is that you're going, oh, well, but these guys are good and they got good quarterbacks. And I think I could trust them. You can't, though. Stop just falling into the trap of like you have to play at Travis Kelce because it's Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
It's not, though. When you don't have Pat Mahomes throwing in the ball, it's not Travis Kelce anymore. I'm sorry. It's just not. And so, I would much rather roll out like a Michael Mayer, or Taysom Hill than pretty much any of these guys. So Kelce and Warren, fine, maybe. I don't know. They don't make me feel all warm and fuzzy.
No, I mean, Kelce's value this year is almost tied directly to touchdowns. I mean, the last, since the bye week, he blew up against Denver in week 11 and went 9 for 91 in a touchdown on 13 targets. But since then, 4 on 6, 43 yards, 5 on 6, 45 and a touchdown. 1 on 5 against Houston for 8 yards. Yeah. 7 for 9 a couple weeks ago against the Chargers, and 70 yards. So that was decent. But then last week put up a freaking absolute clunker, 1 with 4 targets for 6 yards.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. Like you saw Minshew was there, and then I don't know, the backup quarterback's name, Olokun or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Olokun, I believe is how you say it. But.
Yeah.
And
then this week, right? They get Denver, right? That's going to be a tough matchup. It's on Thursday too. It's like the Thursday night Christmas night game.
3 Thursday.
I don't want to start my week off with an absolute dud from a tight end who I'm just going, but it's Travis Kelce. I've got to play him. Look, Tyler Warren is still ranked, highly in the tight end ranks. You've kind of got to condense it down to like what's been happening lately, and you can't be relying on just this. Like, there are a lot of guys who I don't want to trust them anymore. I mean, Kincaid, why do we keep going back to Dalton Kincaid? Even when he is, the starter and been in there, he's had 5 double-digit tight end or scoring weeks. 5 on the entire season. That's not good. It's just give me Brenton Strange. Give me, I'll take Dalton Schultz, Waller, all these guys over top of these guys, Can
I throw you a flex question right here on the show? Would you flex? So I got Kyle Pitts and Harold Fannin. Would you flex Harold Fannin over Wan'Dale Robinson? Full PPR. I think I'm going to. That's how much I hate the receivers.
Remind me who
I would.
Cleveland's playing this week.
Fannon's going Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, Pittsburgh's defense looking pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie.
True.
I don't know if I would, man. I don't know if I would.
It's close, though. Like I said, like the top 4 or 5 tight ends would be certainly top 30 receivers. That's where we're at now, I think. Like, because we've talked about how receiver is so rough. Like, you at least have to consider the top 4, right? You got your Trey McBride, your Kittle if he plays, Fannin, Pitts, Juwan Johnson, Ferguson-ish, maybe. I don't know. But like beyond that, rough in the streets at tight end again.
Yeah.
You're taking the shots on those like Taysom Hill, Michael Mayer. There's not much else.
And I mean, Goddard's getting it done by like
touchdown.
Some weeks it's volume, and then it's like last week was like, the one touchdown, and then they just stopped using him. But yeah, I mean, he was bad for a long stretch. But I'll go back to Dalton. I'll go back to Goddard in a heartbeat over top of guys like Kelce and those guys. Like I've got Kelce ranked in the like mid tight end 2s. Like it's not great, man. I've got Hill above him. I know I do. I will probably be throwing Mayer above him as well. I don't have that because obviously it just got announced while we're recording, but I will be adjusting fairly quickly here and getting that, switched around. So, I'm no longer just kind of going by I think that's just a trap we fall into with tight ends. It's like you've just got to go with like these big names and like this. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, not in championship week. I mean,
no,
you drafted these guys thinking, well, a lot of these guys thinking how awesome they were going to be, steady Eddie coming in, and Kelce's just kind of fallen off the past few years, honestly. Turd Ferguson's got a real nice matchup, but
he's been good though. Like,
he's
he's been great
been
for especially where you got him this year. You didn't have to draft him super high this year.
You didn't have to go.
He's returned
real high
the investment big time for you. But just the quarterback situation there is just not good for him. So I got one more real quick. I know I said I had a defense. I'm sitting the Rams this week. I don't love it. Like 6 points or fewer in the last 4 games. Only been they were a top 10 defense last week, only scoring 6 points against Seattle. But that just kind of goes to show you how bad of a defensive week it was across the league. They're not a bad defense, right? But they're safe. I don't think they have a lot of upside right now. And the matchup this week against Atlanta, maybe could work. Cousins isn't awesome, but Pitts and London and Bijan, like they could do damage, man. So I'm not Cousins. I will say at least like one thing, like isn't just turning the ball over like crazy. So it's just getting the ball out to his playmakers and letting them do the work, and that's smart, man. He's got no mobility right now, so just don't hold on to the ball, don't take sacks, don't throw interceptions, and just it's working for him. So I don't love the Rams this week, but there's not a ton of like in a lot of my leagues, like there's unfortunately not a lot of really good options out there. So the Rams are actually one of the ones that I'm like considering, but I wish but there's just not better options for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. The other defense that I will say is, also 1 foot on the doorstep of my dead zone is the 49ers because of that stupid pick 6 I lost to Keith in the SXP league. Literally 3 minutes to go until. And I mean, I'm in the consolation bracket, but I'm fighting to try to get that first pick, and I'm like, okay, it's looking kind of good. And I had some, bench mistakes that I lost on that too. But it happens. So livid watching that happen.
Yeah. All right, man. So that's what we got for start sit. Guess we'll just close things out here real quick. Not a lot of injury and news because, like I said, it is Wednesday morning, so we don't have Wednesday practice reports. But there are some things that you should probably know headed into your championship week and keep an eye on. Corey.
Yeah. So first, I'm sure by now everyone's seen the video of the dude calling DK to Kalen and him apparently having an offense with him actually getting called by his first name and going over and grabbing him by his fake hair and throwing a punch. And so DK Metcalf is suspended for the remainder of the year, and that's already been upheld. They've already appealed it, and it's been upheld. So no DK Metcalf the rest of the season. You can go ahead and drop him in redraft. And I guess if you had to pick, like it would be extremely deep league. I guess I had to pick. It would be Adam Thielen, but I don't know if I like all those receivers we talked about. As much as I dislike some of them, like I would much rather play AD Mitchell than Adam Thielen. Like,
if anything, this boosts the 3 tight ends they have
and the 2 running backs.
Jalen Warren and Gainwell are just going to see a boatload of work this week, and next week.
I think Kenneth Gainwell's the waiver wire. I was thinking about doing something like content wise about like a waiver wire pick of the year. I think it's Kenneth Gainwell. I guess easily the waiver wire pickup of the year. Like the way that they use him now.
Yeah, I
it's
was
just
not expecting
wild
that.
how good he's been.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He has. He absolutely has. I mean, 21 reception or targets in the past 3 weeks. Only missed on 3 of them, so he's been awesome. I definitely miss having him in Philly, but we've got some others.
Remember Caleb Johnson, love? Oh, man, that was a fun time. And now he's never probably going to touch the field. Yeah, me too. I'll eat that one too. Like I definitely like Caleb Johnson. So, quarterbacks, I'm just going to lump them all together here. We could talk about any of them, but we already mentioned Lamar's dealing with, I think it's his ankle. But because of that, it looks like I'm expecting Josh Johnson to play. They play Saturday night against the Packers. For the Packers, Jordan Love, you mentioned concussed. Malik Willis came in. The offense changed. He's a runner. So I threw it in the Discord. Like in a dynasty league, go ahead and add Malik Willis. I think he's going to get a starting job somewhere. Actually, I think the Packers will try to bring him back. But like I added him in some deep dynasty leagues this week just because he's got the Justin Fields skill set as far as a rusher, but he hurt his shoulder getting sacked by Montez Sweat at the end of the game, and that could be Clayton Tune. Joe's Commanders could be rolling. No, he's Josh Johnson. I said Josh Johnson for Baltimore. It'd be Snoop Huntley.
It's Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, Snoop Huntley.
Lamar's dealing with
backwards.
back injury.
Getting my back.
They're all bad backup quarterbacks.
I'm getting my backups mixed up here. And speaking of bad backup quarterbacks, well, I'm going to skip to Joe's favorite. Joe mentioned Max Brosmer. JJ McCarthy is out. And then finally, we already mentioned, I believe we thought the initial report was that Minshew also tore his ACL. They've since backtracked on that it was not as bad as a torn ACL. But I also don't expect Gardner Minshew to play the rest of the season, which, I mean, here's the question. I'll throw it to you guys. Any Packers receivers, yes or no? Even if Malik Willis plays, any Packers receivers?
Not really.
No, not really. Any?
I don't love it. I mean,
with the Ravens,
who saw Dobbs blowing up again last week? Like he had been nothing. He'd been like forgotten over there. So it's just so hard to rely on any of these guys. I say it every year with these guys, and then like I finally kind of like lean on one for a little while, and then it's like he just disappoints me. Dobbs was that guy this year.
Watson had a stretch, yeah. Ravens, if Snoop Huntley's in there, I think I'm still okay with Zay Flowers. I don't love it though.
Yeah, I don't really love Zay Flowers anyway. Zay Flowers is another one of those guys where like I can never quite figure out why fantasy managers like him as much as they do.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, his yardage has been pretty serviceable most of the year. Aside from week 6 against the Rams, week 3 against Detroit was an absolute dud. But yeah, and then against Cincy in week 13, he had negative fantasy points. I mean, that's pretty fucking hard to do.
I mean, when Lamar is in there, he's been okay, but it's obviously. Yeah. So, but like, we're not going to get Lamar in this game, so we probably won't.
Any Commanders? Any Commanders?
Oh
you
God,
okay with Terry McLaurin? No.
Nah, I don't want anything to do with that offense. Really, I mean, I don't. Like I said, I don't really love the Chris Rodriguez one, but I do know there's some people hurting at running back right now, and
any Commanders?
Not really. I mean, I might have said Ertz, but honestly, he's not out there clearly.
He's hurt too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Debo maybe they just like
super disappointing, but his targets are kind of still there. He's not really catching all of them.
There's just not a lot there, man. Like I
don't think so.
These teams that are dealing with like backups and like third string quarterbacks, it's just really hard to trust.
And that's why the receiver pool is so tough. That's why when we talk about it is because all these teams are playing these type of level quarterbacks right now.
This is why the teams that have Puka and like any of these top 10 receivers are like in every league I'm in are the teams that are in the championship, because other teams have just been decimated by injuries or backup quarterback play for the receivers, and like to where you might have had consistent like good play by your receivers. You're not getting that you're not getting the ceiling that you were projecting to get every now and then from these guys because it's just not there. And then their floor has dropped off too because the backup quarterbacks just plain old suck.
Yeah.
We need to get more like
40-year-old
quarterbacks out there that just know to like step back and just throw it to their best player. We need more Joe Flacco's.
It'd be nice. That would be nice.
First time that's been said in a while.
I'm suiting up.
And last one, no Vikings. We're not playing. Are we trusting Justin Jefferson?
No, not with Brosmer, man. Not with Brosmer. Hell no.
I was
agree. Tempted to like say, okay, you can sort of throw him back out there again after last week, but not with Brosmer. No thanks.
No.
Yeah, I agree. On to the running back injuries here. Josh Jacobs, we mentioned it a little bit. He's dealing with I think they said both a knee and an ankle. He didn't practice at all last week, looked terrible. He did do, I don't think they had an official practice, like a projected walkthrough yesterday, which is, I guess, an upgrade. But I kind of just hope they play Emmanuel Wilson as a Packers fan and let Josh Jacobs rest up because I would be fine with that. Emmanuel Wilson looks pretty good at times, and Josh Jacobs looks pretty banged up out there. Joe mentioned Quinshon a little bit. Fractured fibula and an ankle injury. I mean, it looked awful. I mentioned in the waiver wire article, I guess if you had to. So Dylan Sampson could be back this week. He missed last week with, I think it was a hand injury. And with both of them out, Raheem Sanders, who's a undrafted rookie running back, stepped in and had, I want to say like 11 carries for 40-ish yards. In his first action, it was kind of like Jawar Jordan the week before, but they played Pittsburgh this week. I really don't want to play any of them unless you're like, you have to be so desperate and it's such a deep league to play any of them. And then this one killed me in a couple spots. TreVeyon Henderson, late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, got tackled, came down. I didn't even look that bad, but it hit his head, got concussed. I don't expect him to play this week either, which means Ramondre Stevenson. We've seen Ramondre be okay, although they just went full out. We're just going to throw the ball all the last game. It felt like Stevenson didn't get very many carries at all.
Big to do that big time. Saves me big time.
They play the Jets this week, so I would expect that he'll get more carries and be more involved. I guess you could play Ramondre. I think he's probably an RB2, right?
Low RB2 flex, I feel like.
If Henderson is out, Stevenson's way up there, man.
He's out.
And I really don't think I don't think the Patriots are going to have to pass a lot. They probably will early just to get a cushion, and then they'll just lean on the run.
Yeah.
You guys are good with no Browns? No Browns.
Yeah, no.
Receivers, injuries here. So I would have mentioned this one. There's a reason I kind of skipped over the Chiefs when I was talking about do we want to trust any of the receivers. I guess the receiver that you'd most like to trust would be Rashee Rice, but he's still dealing with his is also a concussion. He did not practice yesterday after missing last week. Even if he does come back, you're dealing with the Chris Aludicon, and he's probably going to get covered by Patrick Surtain. So if Rashee Rice is active, I can see a lot of people starting him. But like again, the floor for Rashee Rice is now 0. Like he could very well not catch anything. He could be like, I think the ceiling for Rashee Rice is they scheme him a bunch of touches. He gets 4 catches for 50-ish yards and a touchdown, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Pat Bryant. Sorry, what, Joe?
I said, yeah, it's not great.
No, it's not great. No. Pat Bryant was looking really good. He was getting the ball thrown to him a lot. And then late in the game, he got absolutely crushed. Officially, I think they just called it a concussion, but like they brought the ambulance out onto the field to get him off the field. I don't expect that we'll see Pat Bryant the rest of the season. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I didn't see anything about this until we started talking or right before we started recording. Apparently, he missed practice yesterday with a knee injury. But what I Googled while you guys were talking for a while and did some sounds like Rappaport said that he's expected to play against the Vikings. So we'll fire him up. And we mentioned Luther Burden quickly under the streamer section.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know if he's practiced yet. If he did practice, I think he's still the Bears receiver that I want to start. I'd rather start him than DJ Moore, but
Absolutely.
we have to know if he's going to play or not, and we just don't have enough information this early in the week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tight ends, we already mentioned Brock Bowers with his they just said that knee injury that got him early in the year. I think they just have said, okay, we're going to call it a season early for Brock Bowers here. So Michael Mayer, and then the other big one we talked about a little bit already, George Kittle, if he's out with his low ankle sprain. We already saw it. Ton just stepped in the first half of the season. I mean, not half, but like 4 or 5 games, I want to say it was, and was usable. So yeah, I think you could use Tonjes too. I mean, those guys are more appealing to me than we talked about this a lot, like the Travis Kelce's and those players that maybe have a more notable name, but not as much of a workload.
Yeah, Tonjes is interesting. Like, I don't remember exactly which games Kittle missed. Was it?
I can look it up.
I believe it was week 4 against Jacksonville, week 5 against the Rams.
He missed 2 to 6. He missed weeks through 2 to 6.
2 to 6. Okay.
Tonjes had 4 catches for 31 yards in week 2, then 2 for 21. Then he backed it up with 3 for 58, 7 for 40, 3 for 58 and a touchdown, 7 for 41 and a touchdown, 6 for 58.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, sort of back end tight end 1, high end tight end 2 for the most part. Once he started getting kind of rolling.
So the tough part about this whole week is the schedule makes it extremely hard.
It's impossible, dude.
So you get the 3 games tomorrow, and then you get the 2 games Saturday, and then like if you're waiting for Kittle, they don't play till Sunday night.
Yeah.
So like you got to add Jake Tonjes to your back.
You got to have Tonjes. So in the Fantasy 6-Pack League, so I have Tyler Warren, and I don't really want to roll out with him anymore. I have my pickings because I have more fab money than Tomlin. He's got Kittle. Do I just say screw it and go get Tonjes and screw him?
Block him?
Or do I go for who I would think would be a better? I need a tight end. Like if Tonjes doesn't play, then I'm still screwed, right? I don't really want to play Warren. So do I just go after Mayer or Hill first and then just say if he has Tonjes, then I don't think like the ceiling is. The one thing to remember about Tonjes, right, is he was doing that early in the year when all their receivers were hurt too. So I wonder if like Jennings being back, DeMarcus Robinson and these guys are playing better, right? Don't really know about Pearsall and if he's supposed to be back or not.
Oh, he's on my shit list. Sorry. You can throw him on my list of players that I can't stand either. Is Ricky Pearsall.
But
yeah,
like that could really affect Tonjes too, right? And that they could just leave him in as like a blocker instead of having to rely on him as much of a pass catcher. Like even last year when he played a little bit, he did okay, but it was like 1 or 2 catches for like a touchdown. Or was that 2 years ago? I forget what year it was. He played occasionally, and it was like, oh, this Tonjes guy like did something here and there, but it wasn't a lot. But it's just
one. It was 2 years ago.
I don't know. Maybe it was last year. No, I'm not really seeing anything on the stat sheet last year, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Either way, so that's kind of my hesitation with Tonjes. I think I just need to go with the better play and just get as many points as I possibly can, and just if he gets Tonjes, he gets Tonjes, and like I know I'm kind of bailing him out by letting him have the backup there. But I just think I've got to go for the better play here with Hill or Mayer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I want to block him. I put a secondary bid in, but I don't think I would get. He's probably going to blow all of his fab. He's got $82. I've got like 120. So I'm putting 83 on all my tight ends. And if I get one of the ones in front of Tonjes, I'm gonna guess he's gonna get him for $82. There'd be no reason for him not to. So, oh well. All right. That is it for the show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it, and good luck in your fantasy championships. Leave those comments, leave those reviews. We'd love to hear from you. And if you fantasy football season's pretty much done. We do have a lot of DFS content. We'll do some DFS stuff on the site throughout the playoffs. And fantasy baseball, though, man, starting to ramp up. We've gotten some dynasty content rolling out. Corey's been doing his early top 10 positional rankings that are dropping whenever I get around to dropping them. I'm busy. And yeah, so if you do play fantasy baseball, we'll be kicking that, getting that going here really, really soon. And yeah, thanks for
I just want to say thank you guys
year.
for letting me on the show this year. I had a good year. I feel like it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, man. No, we are glad to have you here. We are glad to have you here, man. Great addition. And thanks to both you and AJ for doing the show with me again for another year. Thanks to all of you for watching, listening, whatever you listen and watch. Have a happy holidays. Good luck in the championship, and we will see you all next year. Peace.
Happy holidays.